Okay, well, hey everyone. So moving a little bit away from React and front-end kind of frameworks, what I wanted to talk about was how edge technologies are evolving. And so for all those who are working on some form of customer-facing website, you're probably using some form of CDN or content delivery network, just in case no one's familiar with the acronym. So you want to get your content as close to your customers as possible, so they've got a snappy load experience. And happy customers are good customers. So what I wanted to talk about was, well, if we're putting static content as close to the customers as possible, why can't we also put our business logic a little bit closer? Sometimes you can put the business logic on the customer's device. Like you can literally embed it in the web page. But sometimes for performance reasons, like a server's got a lot more processing power than a mobile phone, or sometimes for IP protection reasons, you might not want to put your business logic onto the person's device. And so there's an offering that's come through in the last couple of years by Cloudflare. Does anyone use Cloudflare as part of their? Yeah. Pardon? Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Yep, Cloudflare Workers on everything. Was that comment there? So what I'm going to jump into, so this, for those who aren't familiar with the syntax, this is just a bit of Rust code. So what we're going to do is, well, I'm talking like it's going to be. So we're going to take Rust code, we're going to compile it into WebAssembly, and then we're going to push it onto a web worker. And the whole thing is a very quick cycle time. And so I'll just show you what we've got here. So ignoring a chunk of the boilerplate and the logging up the top, if we have a look around this line here, we have a route that at the moment says hey Naviji, but we can type in Siligong, 2 L's, 1 L. Siligong, cool, okay. And then also, so that's one of our routes. So if we hit the root of what we're going to create as our API, it will just respond with hey Siligong. And if we look down here, we've also just got doubling a number. And so that's under the double route. And so if we put in something that can be interpreted in some way as a number, it will return double the number. And anything else, it'll respond with an appropriate error message. So I'm just going to save that and exit. And so in here, this is actually just pretty much just stolen straight from the Cloudflare Workers using WebAssembly demo. And the compilation is handled by a tool called Wrangler. And Wrangler build is all we need to build. So you can see not too long to create a new package ready to publish. It's been optimized. One of the things, WebAssembly, you don't get much out of the box. So if you want to have garbage collection, if you want to have even using text, you have to compile that in. Does everyone know what WebAssembly is? Anyone shaking their heads? Okay. Well, really quickly, WebAssembly, a bunch of these large companies, they're like, what if we wanted to have higher performance in the browser? What if we wanted to have near native performance in the browser? Let's describe a hypothetical machine and then describe an instruction set that machine can operate on. So it's like, take 2 numbers and then you tell it to add, and then it returns those numbers added together. So it's a stack machine. You put things on the stack, and then you apply a function, you get the number back. And so literally you start with just nothing but numbers. And so even the concept of text needs to be compiled into the binary. It's very low level, but allows you to run very performant code on your browser. So a side project that I'm working on is mastering audio, and everything stays in the browser. But what if I didn't want that intellectual property to go all the way through to the browser? What if I wanted it on the edge, ready to respond, so the customer's still getting a good experience, but the IP is protected? For my case, I don't care. People can have it. But for this case, we're now just going to do a Wrangler publish, and it's now very soon ready to go in the cloud once it finishes uploading. So I'm going to jump over to my Cloudflare portal, and if I click on just the, so it's still saying, hey, Naviji, I think it might be cached. I'll look into that in a sec. My apologies. So here, this route, we can then also go to double. And if I type in a number like -12, it returns -24. So very, very basic business logic there. But if you're already using Cloudflare as kind of like your content cache, and you wanted to have very fast responses for maybe some simpler business logic, you can actually push it out onto the edge. When I say the edge, I mean hundreds of servers all over the world. So every customer is very close to one of those servers. So you're moving your business logic closer to your customers. And just because I like WebAssembly, that means that we can now run WebAssembly on your server side natively with Deno. If you want to change over from Node.js over to Deno. Using Cloudflare Workers, you can have WebAssembly running on the edge. I think AWS will have something like this soon, or they've already got it. I didn't check. And of course, you can run WebAssembly in your browser. So what that means is you can now build a module that can then be used in the same way across your stack. And you can choose whatever language you'd like, as long as it can compile to WebAssembly. So you can use a slightly modified version of Go, you can use C, you can use Rust, you can use JavaScript if you want. But then you can treat them like JavaScript modules. And so you don't have to use WebAssembly with Cloudflare Workers, you can actually just use JavaScript instead. And I think that's about it, unless anyone wanted to look further into the WebAssembly and what actually gets produced. I'm happy to just leave it there and go for questions. Yeah, what's up? Yeah.
Is there like some sort of, I don't know, I haven't played around with Cloudflare before, but is there some sort of like size limit on these sort of edge nodes or whatever, like you can only serve up to 100 kilobytes or something like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So using the free tier, you're limited to 10 milliseconds of execution time. And so starting up the WebAssembly engine and doing the processing and spinning it down takes 2 milliseconds. So you've got about 8 milliseconds to play with there if you want to stay in the free tier. If you want to go up to the paid tier, $5 a month will get you millions of executions. They're cheap. Yeah, very, very cheap. And there you're limited to, I think, 30 seconds execution time under normal circumstances. Yeah, cold starts as well. Yeah. So that comment there, AWS Lambdas do suffer from cold starts, but Cloudflare promises that it's like hot the whole time. Something else I can show you as well.
Do you have to use WebAssembly?
No, you can just, there's a selection of languages. You can just write your workers in JavaScript as well.
So it's like a proper competitor to Lambda.
It is. It's a little bit of a different approach to Lambda. But yeah, I think if you're already using Lambda, probably just stay with Lambda. So here, with one command, Wrangler.dev, I have the complete environment just running on the laptop instead. Sorry, this is actually on a Linux computer at home. Yes, of course it is. So if I double 23, then you can see that I can just spin up a dev instance that quick as well if I want to test it here first. So very easy to use. The reason why I wanted to give this talk is I was just impressed with how easy it was. And for those who are on the call, we just lost our lights, but laptops are on batteries. So yeah. Yeah, so that comment there was you can also have storage and persistent objects on the edge as well. And so it handles like the state, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, cool. Nice. Anyone else have any questions? Cool.